First at 4, what a mess. We are first on the scene after a car plows into a gas station. You'll see surveillance video that recorded the accident. Also, what's next? We're monitoring new developments in the contract talks between the UAW and Ford. We'll tell you where things stand at this hour. Hey, Ben.
Karen, finally got a little sunshine. Could have used it yesterday, but it is not helping us with temperatures. Find out how cold we're going to get for the weekend. Paula.
Well, if you've ever said thank you to a U.S. service person, thank you for your service. There's another way to say thank you, and the vets here at the VA Medical Center would like for you to know about it. These stories and more are happening right now on Local 4, first at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, it was a scary moment on Detroit's west side when this car just barreled into a gas station, sending 2 people to the hospital. This happened at the Citgo gas station on West McNichols and Schaefer. Surveillance video showing the car crashing through the front door, causing massive damage. Police now tell us the driver's car had a malfunction before crashing into the building. 2 people were hurt, including an employee.
Like something exploded, so we open the door, we see all the car, all the stuff on the floor. Crazy, we get shot.
Yeah.
And one from my best employee, she got hurt. Yeah. She's my manager.
Both victims and the driver were taken to the hospital. Everyone is expected to be okay. We'll have more from the scene tonight at 5:30. At this hour, the UAW Ford National Council is meeting behind closed doors, going over a tentative agreement with the automaker. UAW leaders are deciding whether to send the deal to the rank and file for ratification. And we've only heard a few details about what's in the deal, including a $9,000 bonus for workers. The agreement would also shut down the Ford plant in Romeo, but those 600 workers will be offered buyouts or jobs at the transmission factory in Sterling Heights. We'll bring you updates as soon as we hear a decision right here, as well as clickondetroit.com. A heated day in court as neighbors and an ex-girlfriend face the man accused of setting an apartment on fire with a family inside. 24-year-old DeMarco Latham is accused of setting that fire that killed a 31-year-old woman and her 2-year-old daughter. Prosecutors say Latham started the fire in the unit below because he was angry with his ex-girlfriend. Latham is charged with 2 counts of murder and arson. Latham has been bound over for trial. You'll hear some of the testimony new on Local 4 News at 5. Security cameras were rolling when a teen walked into Warren De La Salle High School with a knife. Police say Cody Brocker claims he was being bullied and brought that knife to protect himself. Well, within minutes, he was arrested. He's now charged as an adult with bringing a weapon to a weapon-free school zone. This incident comes as De La Salle is closed today due to a school threat. Meantime, tonight at 6, we're going to focus on that hazing investigation involving the school's football team. The team was pulled out of the playoffs, and we've been talking to police about that part of the story. We'll have the latest new at 6. Well, we survived one of the worst Halloweens many of us can remember. So what is next? Ben, do we have some good news, or what's up with the weekend?
We've got part of the weekend, Karen, that I think looks pretty good. It's the starting point that's going to be the problem. But temperatures outside, we just can't get these any close to average, which are the mid-50s for this time of year. At least we've got some sunshine, but with low to mid-40s and a little bit of a wind chill still in the 30s for the drive home tonight. Here's a snapshot of your weekend. Highs both days are going to be in the mid-40s. But we've got light snow and rain and then flurries on Saturday, so we'll look at timing on that. Sunday, the sunshine does come back, but again, we can't get these temperatures to a respectable limit. And believe it or not, we're actually getting colder next week. We'll look at the big chill then, coming up in just a few minutes. Karen?
All right, thank you, Ben. The impeachment inquiry surrounding President Trump is only picking up speed after that big vote in the House yesterday. Democrat Adam Schiff says we could see transcripts of the testimony already given as early as next week. Congress is also diving into questions about why the transcripts from a call between President Trump and the president of Ukraine were moved onto a top secret server. Democrats are calling on more White House officials to testify. Meantime, President Trump says he is thinking about reading the transcript during the so-called fireside chat to show Americans there was nothing wrong with the call. First at 4, we're also tracking the big stories that are making headlines across America on your Friday. And it is another day of red flag warnings in Southern California as high winds continue to spark new fires. Overnight, the so-called Maria fire erupted and burned through 8,000 acres in just a few hours. About 7,500 people had to leave the area. Luckily, no reports of injuries at this time. Fires across the state have burned more than 101,000 acres in the past 3 weeks. Moving to Chicago, where a young girl is shot as she trick-or-treats with her family. That child was shot in the neck last night, is in critical condition. Police think this was an act of gang violence and don't believe the 7-year-old was the intended target. They are looking for a person of interest, though, seen in surveillance videos from nearby businesses. Penn State University is looking into a new allegation of sexual abuse against former assistant football coach Jerry Sandusky. The university says the report was filed with campus police Tuesday. The alleged crime took place between June of 2000 and September 2010. Sandusky was convicted of sexually abusing 10 boys and sentenced to 30 years in prison. His request for a new trial was denied, but he is scheduled to be resentenced next week because a court ruled it was illegal to impose mandatory minimum sentences in his case. The 40-day GM strike did have an impact on today's jobs report. Employers added 128,000 jobs in October, and that number was impacted by the tens of thousands of striking GM workers who had to be temporarily counted as unemployed. The unemployment rate ticked up to 3.6%, and that's still near a 5-decade low. An important event taking shape for local military veterans. And if you've ever said the words, "Thank you for your service" to a vet, this is the way to truly show your gratitude. Paula Tutman is live at the John Dingell VA Medical Center in Detroit. And Paula, you've had some really fascinating conversations with veterans today.
Yeah, I really did, because I had the privilege of spending part of the morning here at the VA Medical Center. And honestly, almost every single vet I encountered wanted to share a story of their service.
And you were Army, Navy?
Army.
Good stuff. What unit?
Tracy Pettaway jumped out of planes. The price of her service to this country is a collapsed disc and a life altered. At the VA Center, she's visible.
Thanks for bringing your dog around.
Sure, no problem.
Not everyone is, like Dean Ditto, whose pain is not easily spotted, but courses through him as a thin red line that runs deep into the fiber of who he has become as a result of war.
People died. Good people died. Good people got blown up. Good people were hurt. Part of what we carry with us is their honor in the memory of them.
As a Marine in Desert Storm, he found out quickly that war was not a John Wayne movie. The lights don't fade to a new scene.
And people asking questions, did you kill anybody? You know, unsavory, you know, I'm glad you guys made it through safe. Well, I made it through safe, but I knew people who didn't make it through safely, people who didn't come home.
During the Stories of Service fundraiser for the Fisher House, Michigan.
I think that I just want to make sure that they're remembered, that they're not just a mossy tombstone somewhere in a national cemetery.
Thanks will come from the people who sit in the audience and listen to the cost of service.
We will feature 5 different veterans from World War II all the way through Iraq. And it's a way for the community to engage with these veterans, learn about the emotion of service, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's important for our community to understand what our veterans did and how they're dealing with it as they return home.
Some of the stories may be hard to listen to, difficult to imagine.
What you see is horribly dismembered bodies. You know, you see pieces of what used to be people.
But they are the truth behind the grand experiment behind democracy and its true price.
Don't ever dismiss the thanks. Don't ever dismiss the welcome home, because every single one of us that raised our right hand wrote a blank check payable to the American people for up to including our lives.
As long as our country stands, there will always be young men and women who are willing to step into that gap and go take the battle to the people that would do us harm.
You know, raising funds for Fisher House, Michigan is really critical, not only for veterans and their families, but really to all of us. And the event is Wednesday, so this gives you an opportunity to plan, and that's a great way to say thank you in a way that is so visible and so helpful to these veterans. We're going to put all of the information on all of our social media platforms so you can dial in. Karen?
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you, Paula. Still ahead, first at 4. Have you seen the angry tweets from Capital One customers? That bank is dealing with a frustrating problem that might have you checking your account. Also, we have a Help Me Hank recall alert, a new concern for hundreds of thousands of owners about the brakes on their trucks and SUVs. What you need to know. And trick-or-treaters and their parents were stunned by what happened in one town. How nasty weather left a little girl in a very dangerous situation. We'll be right back.